Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 4 of our F125 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Bahrain Grand Prix, of course, what is normally the first race of the Formula 1 season. It feels a little bit weird to be coming to here after a few races already under our belt, but 3 races down so far, and all of them have been very, very different to one another. Lando Norris, though, leading the way at the top of the World Championship right now. I've got to try and remember the best way to kind of get over to the results. There we are. If we take a look at the current standings, Norris 29 points clear of Yuki Tsunoda in P2. Very, very consistent so far from the young Japanese driver there. 1 point ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Oscar Piastri inside your top 6. But last weekend, we picked up our first points of the year, slightly overshadowed by the fact Esteban Ocon able to finish P5 in his Haas car to bring them their first points of the season as well. So we are down to P9 in the Constructors' Championship right now. Still waiting on Dennis Hauger to get his first points of the year on the board as well, but only time will tell, I'm sure, before we see our teammates start getting some top 10s as well. You can see, obviously, yeah, Lando back-to-back victories, Tsunoda back-to-back podiums as well. It really is going to be a season where consistency is going to pay dividends. But of course, all of the teams do so much practice around the Sakir circuit. Hopefully we can try and get another good weekend under our belt. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you hit that sub button. We are trying to hit 150k at the moment. And of course, if you want early access to all of these videos, click the join button down below. It costs just £1 a month. And like I said, you get early access as well as a few other exclusive little perks as well. So if you want to see what happens from Jeddah and then also Miami, you can do that. Like I said, £1. All it is. But yeah, without further ado though, as always, a massive thank you to everybody. Let's head here to Bahrain.
Well, as the sun goes down, the speeds go up. It's almost time to get underway for this shootout for the fastest time and the best possible grid position for tomorrow's race. Let's get on with it. It's qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Well, with a minute left then on the clock. So far, we have not been out-qualified by Dennis Hauger this season. He's in P17. Our advantage in qualifying has usually been about half a second. So far this session, we're, I think, 6/10 behind him. So this final lap really does need to be a big one here. I'm going to try and not use as much battery early on as I did last time around, but we need to be confident on the brakes, but also just try and get the car where we need it. It needs to be a tidier lap than the first one we did earlier on. Again, still hesitating through that first couple of corners. Immediately 2/10 up. By the time we get to the top of the hill, they're on the brakes. At about 100 metres, I flick the car up over the top. That crest now really, really difficult. Try and get the car planted on the exit, but as we make our way down through the S's again, a lot tidier, a lot more composed. The second half of the lap was admittedly a lot better last time, but there will definitely still be time to find there, struggling for grip on the exit. The hairpin, but still finding a little bit more. Hauger now dropping to P18. That's obviously the big goal first and foremost. You know, in Formula 1, you have to beat your teammate. So we try and get a run in towards the final few corners. Looks like loads of cars are improving, though. So the circuit really ramping up towards the end of Q1. I don't think Hauger has done enough to see himself through and into Q2, so we might be the only hope for the team yet again. Will we be able to repeat what we did out in Suzuka? I'm not convinced at the moment. A 10.5 down on Lance Stroll by the end of the middle sector. We really need to try and blitz these final couple of corners of the lap. Get the car flung in third gear there. Try and use the curve on the exit of the final turn. On the run towards the line, we're going to run out of battery. A second up though, but only P19. Well, there we go. Max Verstappen fastest by 0.4 of a second over anybody else there. Only our fellow Brits able to get within a second of him. Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Russell, P2, 3 and 4 there. Charles Leclerc exactly a second off the pace of the Dutchman. So that was clearly a very, very good lap time by the Red Bull man. I mean, where's Yuki Tsunoda in all of this? Is he... Oh, Tsunoda's out in Q1. So a disaster for Yuki. 2 seconds off his teammate there, so a very disappointing effort for him. For the first time this year, though, Dennis Hauger will not start from last place. Carlos Sainz has clearly had a disaster as well in qualifying. But this feels like it could be a bit more like Japan. Sorry, a bit more like China than it was Japan. So we've just got to kind of get our head down and make sure we see the checkered flag.
There was a race against time in 2004 to get Sakir ready for its Grand Prix debut. But today, the only race is where it matters, right on track. Welcome to the Bahrain Grand Prix. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36-mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, and it could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Piastri, George Russell and Antonelli, Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Gasly and Liam Lawson, Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Ollie Behrman and Bortoletto, Hadjar, Tsunoda, Lance Stroll and Callum Voisin, Doohan, Hauger, Sainz and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Well, interesting there, obviously, what Anthony Davison was saying about the old-style cars. Of course, for those of you that have been around for a while, or maybe if you're new, go back, check out our F1 Classic Career Mode. So far, we've gone from 1998 to 2003. It has been an absolute ball, and has actually thrown up some really, really interesting seasons as well, that we never quite got to see IRL in Formula 1. Verstappen was fastest in qualifying, but grid penalties for him means that it is a McLaren-Ferrari front row, and a Ferrari-McLaren second row. Mercedes lockout row 3. Andrea Kimi Antonelli finally get a good qualifying under his belt. But Alex Albon as well with some grid penalties here, as again, the team do not believe a one-stop is possible around this circuit. Again, I'm going to try and take the hard compound tyres as far as I can early on and see where we end up. This circuit, though, we often do see safety cars. Maybe that'll be the case tonight. But let's do this thing then. Round 4 of the year here from Bahrain. The 5 red lights come on. And the lights out, and oh wait, we go there. Tsunoda, despite starting on the softs, not responding very well on the initial launch down in towards turn 1. He should still be able to hang on ahead of me, as we will try and look for the middle of the road. Hopefully we can find some safety there, as everybody just slows down towards that first corner. Gabriele Bortoletto really wanted to give his teammate plenty of room. As I tried to get around the outside of Lance Stroll there. We actually gained a couple of places off the start. One on the Aston Martin, one on the Red Bull, as immediately they're going to try and go full attack mode just behind me again, as 3 wide up towards the top of the hill. We will just stay out of trouble and try and carry the momentum around the outside there in towards the next corner, as Yuki, really not what he needed to be doing. He needs to be trying to move forward early on, not losing even more places, as plenty are locking up down in towards the head, but there are a few drivers perhaps struggling, as it looks like pretty much everybody is either on the hards or the softs at the start of the Grand Prix. So we've got to try and capitalise there. Try and muscle our way to the inside of Nico Hülkenberg. As you can hear, that bollard, I think, has actually got stuck under the car. So not really what we wanted. Tsunoda again trying to go on the offensive down in towards the next corner. And surely now he'll have got those soft compound tyres up to temperature and able to get the power down on the exit there. Maybe not, though. Back to the inside as we make our way up through the top of the circuit. And Tsunoda again not able to carry the momentum. He's going to once again be under pressure from Lance Stroll. I mean, it's really been the first kind of weakness we've seen from Yuki so far. Just by pure consistency, he's up in second in the World Championship, ahead of Max Verstappen after the first 3 Grand Prix. Of course, massively helped by that DNF that his teammates suffered from the lead back at Suzuka, back at Shanghai even. But as Yuki barrels past us once again on the run in towards turn 1. Brilliant to fight him so far, but I don't think it's going to last forever there. As again, we just try to avoid making any contact with anybody else. Oh no, and again, try not to do a Nikita Mazepin, but I feel like I do it once a race so far this season, where we just have a big snap of oversteer. Luckily, we're not too far behind the rest of the pack, but not what I needed to do. Yeah, despite, obviously, that little mistake we made, we haven't been too disconnected from the rear of the field. Sadly, though, it is both of our cars battling for last place once again. I'm just kind of waiting for my first mechanical failure of the year. Bahrain, I was quite unlucky on inside F124. I think I had about 3 mechanicals here. But at least now it isn't the season opener anymore. So hopefully that'll give us a helping hand, as I think Hauger might be a bit of a sitting duck by the time we get back in towards turn 1 there. So again, we're just trying to make the car a little bit quicker, and that's making it a little bit more kind of slidey at the rear end. Surely we can get a run though on Hauger. He's going to go defensive on us in towards that first corner. To the outside, we will try and have a look. Make sure that we don't make any contact with our teammate. Well, there is a tiny bit of wheel banging. But through and up then back into 21st. I mean, I say that, Hauger might immediately come back at me though, up the hill in towards the next corner. Again, our 2 teammates there hopefully racing with good respect, and yeah, we will hang on. Wow, oh, lucky they're able to use the outside curb there, as we're going to accidentally get around the outside of Lance Stroll. That was not quite what I was expecting. But either way, Ollie Behrman really doing his best Jarno Trulli impression early on in this race. He is causing an almighty train a little way up in front of us, and that's kind of allowed a gaggle of cars to kind of break free from the rest of the runners here. Looks like Albon and Sainz, though, both Williams trying to move their way slowly back up through the order. But yeah, obviously Esteban Ocon as well had another brilliant qualifying effort. I think he was up at about P7 here, ready for the Grand Prix, but it just doesn't seem like Haas have the pace early on, unless of course he's trying the hard tyres as well. Oh, here we go, 3 wide up in front there. That might present us an opportunity by the time we get into the first corner. Everybody being rather sensible. Isaac Hadjar, Nico Hulkenberg and Carlos Sainz there, and I think it's Sainz and Hadjar that lose out. Hulkenberg will claim the spots. There is Albon, might try and make it 3 wide again up towards the top of the hill. I think, yeah, Williams really starting to struggle here a little bit. But so is Isaac there as well, trying to use the battery, get a run to the inside of Albon, down in towards the S's. And well, we gained another one then at the moment, but let's just see how much Hadjar is struggling through these next few corners. I think it was him and Ollie Behrman that were originally kind of causing this train in the second half of the pack. But yeah, maybe Hadjar taking more out of his tyres, of course. These rookies, you know, it is a learning curve to kind of work out how you have to manage these Pirelli tyres when you make the step, obviously, up into Formula 1. The Formula 2 cars are a very different machine. Of course, obviously, effectively in this series, Callum Boyson hasn't drove a Formula 2 car. He's basically done a Max Verstappen of straight from F3 and up into F1 there as well. Albon actually wanted to try and have a look down the inside up the top of the hill. I will give them credit. The AI definitely seem to be a little bit more kind of sensibly aggressive on this year's game. As Albon again to the inside there, we'll give him a big old squeeze. Try and get the car slowed down though through that final corner. Nice and easy as we use the throttle pickup on the exit. As there we go. It's actually going to be the tie driver into the pit lane. So does Tsunoda, so does Lawson, and so does George Russell actually, and one of the Ferraris there. That's Charles Leclerc. I'm too busy focusing on that. I apologise. I went down the inside of Isaac Hadjar. We're actually going to have contact with Charles Leclerc as he tries to get the elbows out. And we picked up just a little bit of damage as well. So I don't think it's going to cost us too much time. But I will just get the team to change it when we dive into the pits. Not ideal, but also not the end of the world. There we go, Liam Lawson. Not wasting any time though before he will try and get past us as well. The young Kiwi there definitely seems to kind of be the opposite of Kimi Antonelli. Doing a better job probably in the game. He has been admittedly quite unlucky IRL so far this year, as I've got to remember I am missing a front wing end plate there as Pierre Gasly tries to have a bit of a dive down the inside as well. We've got yellows out though further back. I think that might be a Sauber breaking down then in this race, as Pierre Gasly will relegate me down to 10th, and I'm sure Verstappen is about to put us into 11th place as well there. Hulkenberg out of the GP, our first Sauber casualty of the night. It's Verstappen, yeah, going to move us down, but someone else's pit, Ollie Behrman. I mean, look at that again, Fernando Alonso not even waiting to get to the DRS zone there. Oh, actually locks up a little bit. Got to be careful we don't go into the back of him on the exit of the corner. I mean, if there's an opportunity to fight with the Aston Martin, I'm certainly going to take it. And into the wheel tracks will go of the Spaniard, back around the outside there. And normally you'd expect Formula 1's most experienced driver to maybe play that a little bit more intelligently than he did. But I think he was hoping that I just wasn't going to put up much of a fight. I say all that, he might now immediately get back past me as we make our way up the hill in towards turn 4. Here comes Fernando Alonso yet again, slightly later on the brakes, but we're not going to back out of it unless we absolutely have to. We will have to grip though off the corner. And as he really just tried to give me a big old squeeze. Alonso through, and we are back out of the top 10 there. But still, especially with that tiny bit of front wing damage there. Whoa, Alonso! The AI have got to stop doing that as well. I mean, how on earth does he hang on to that? I keep braking because I'm worried he's going to spin and I'm going to lose all of my wing. Speaking of, though, I think I'm going to disable the wing change that I was going to do. I just don't think we need it.
Box now, please. Box this lap.
Well, I'm hoping Yuki Tsunoda is going to be the last car that gets by me before we dive into the pit lane there. There he goes down the inside. So we'll try and see again if we can use the DRS. No, we can. Oh, that's annoying.
New race strategy on your MFT if you want to go and check it out.
Safety car? I was not expecting that from that incident. But I guess we're going to take the opportunity then to dive into the pit lane. Well, I might have completely caused that safety car. Please tell me, yeah, the team are changing the wing. So that's going to bring everybody back together then in this GP there. So works out fantastically for all of us at the back of the field that are able to pit now for free. Oh, I clicked the wrong button again. That was stupid. But yeah, with a new wing going on, new fresh tyres, everything like that, it's going to be a long pit stop anyway. I'm hoping we don't get jumped by anybody behind. We are going to get jumped by Doohan. As I think we just... No, it doesn't look like Hauger's dived into the pits either. Well, we barely caught up to the back of the safety car by the time it's ready to come in then in this Grand Prix. But I believe it's Oscar Piastri leading the pace at the front of the order. And maybe I've accidentally kind of made this race quite exciting for this final third or so. A bit like the IRL race. I think everybody's going to be really kind of touch or go as to whether they're able to get to the end without having to pit again. As we try and put the power down out then of the final corner. Restarting this race down in 17th. Not too sure what Hauger's plan is, because I don't believe he's pit still. So I think he might have screwed himself over in this race by not opting to dive into the pit lane. As I'll do it immediately. Trying to look down the inside of our teammate back in towards turn 1. I'm hoping Hauger able to put up a little bit of a fight against him. But I think I know who my money's on the exit. It was not me though. 3 wide off the corner. As we will make another cheeky double overtake them. Just like we did back in Japan as well. And straight up then into P15 here. Let's try and go in pursuit of Tsunoda. There's a lot of cars on softs. So I think we're going to see a few more pit stops before the end. I think obviously the safety car came out just after a lot of AI committed to another set of the soft compound tyre. So maybe I've kind of helped myself. Bortoletto there, I can just see in front, he's getting absolutely swallowed up on this restart. The Sauber driver was running up at about P8 in this Grand Prix. Yeah, slowly now dropping back down the order as we are tucked up behind Yuki Tsunoda. Back in towards turn 1. Bortoletto might be about to lose another one. Fernando Alonso will get around the outside of the Sauber man as well. So obviously what he's also doing with all of this is kind of spreading those cars out in front a little bit more as well. Here's Tsunoda. A little bit early on the brakes, but apparently doesn't see me. Tried to have a bit of a look down the inside there. There was only a little bit of contact, so he should have got away with it. But Tsunoda clearly wants to race us hard, so I will return in kind. There we go, Gasly. Oh, trying to have a look down the inside of Gabriele Bortoletto, and again, you can just see how aggressive the AI are. You know, and their ability to defend against each other so much better than F124 as well. Definitely noticed the damage that we picked up from that little battle with Yuki. Didn't look like much on the HUD, but through the high-speed corners, you really start to feel the front end struggling just to kind of find the grip there. But again, Bortoletto, he's going to have no DRS back in towards turn 1. So he is going to be very, very vulnerable here. Gasly will try and have a look past him. And I will see if I can follow the Alpine through. Bortoletto again trying to defend, but not enough. They'll tuck into the slipstream of Pierre there, try and cover us off into the braking zone, but finding an avenue around the outside. Up then into P13 of this GP. We got yellows out though. No idea who's braking down. Oh, I think our teammate's gone round. I think our teammate might have gone round, and that could be another safety car in this Grand Prix. I think we might just about get away with it. Yep, everybody got running again, and Hauger Another mistake from our teammate in what has been a tough start to the campaign. He keeps the car going once more. More cars, way more cars into the pit lane then at the end of lap 22. So I don't think most of the AI are trying to stretch this to the end of the Grand Prix. There's going to be some of them that are going to be miles quicker than us. It's talking off Tsunoda again, or flyback passing in towards turn 1, but this is turning into a really, really bizarre end to the Grand Prix. There is Tsunoda clearly just showcasing that he's not happy with me by throwing that Red Bull around the venue. I think it's now Leclerc that is up into P1, Antonelli into second place, and I imagine if one of these guys is able to get to the end. Oscar Piastri, though, he's made the undercut work on Lando Norris. He's 3 seconds clear of his teammate, so he is going to be chasing me down. There we go, Leclerc in. Oh my god, Antonelli's in, Tsunoda's in. We are into the lead of the Grand Prix, thanks to a safety car that I caused earlier on here. 6 laps to go in Bahrain. I certainly don't think we're going to win it, because Oscar Piastri, he's running about 3 seconds a lap faster than me at the moment. But we could be on for a ridiculously good result around this circuit, simply by, I mean, this could be worse than Crashgate, depending on how you view it. I do wish the AI could be a little bit more intelligent with safety cars and things like that, and kind of appreciating, you know, in that scenario, they should all be bolting on a set of hards to try and get to the end, or at least trying to stretch it. But Oscar Piastri, can he become our 3rd different winner in 4 Grand Prix? Can I become our 3rd different winner in 4 Grand Prix? I'm not optimistic. The gap is already down to about 7 seconds. Well, I've got to be honest, these tyres are starting to feel truly second-hand towards the end of the Grand Prix, but however you look at it, I think we're certainly going to gain from where we probably would have been had we opted to pit again after the safety car here. But it's been nice to savour these laps in the lead, but I don't think there's going to be anything we can do against Oscar Piastri here. The McLaren man absolutely deserves to win this one. He's been dominant throughout, and through he will go, and back up into P1. Leclerc, Norris, Russell and Verstappen all not a million miles away either. Verstappen a few laps ago went 4 seconds quicker than me in just a single lap. Well, less than 2 laps ago then Charles Leclerc now inside the range of myself, and I think looking at the mini-map we're probably going to drop down to about P5, P6 in this Grand Prix here, as Leclerc and Norris are about ready to line up a move on us. And again, you know, we've just got no fight. I don't want to risk anything towards the end of the Grand Prix. Yes, it would have been nice to get a trophy here, but on the one hand as well, I'm partially there kind of going, not really sure I would deserve a trophy either from this Grand Prix, as I mean, just the back end has got no hookup through those corners anymore. Lando Norris now breathing down my neck as Leclerc goes in pursuit of Oscar Piastri at the front of the order. Russell and Verstappen as well, lining up ready to get an opportunity as well. With just a lap and a half to go in this Grand Prix as well. Slow the car down, get it rotated in through that horrible turn 9, turn 10 complex. I've noticed one other weird thing that I don't think I've noticed so far this season, and no, it's not Lando Norris hesitating to try and go for a move, but for some reason, whenever I head back up the hill, I'm forced into reduced harvesting mode. I've got no idea what that's about at the moment, but he basically forces us into this mode right the way around until we get back to the start-finish line there. So if someone could explain that to me, that would be greatly appreciated. But there goes Norris, there goes Russell, both of them trying to look past us down in towards the final corner there. Norris, whoa, tries to just cover me off there, and again we are met with a load of oversteer. Final lap though of the Grand Prix. We've got the tyre wear warning light has flashed up now as well, so Norris is going to lose 1 place to George Russell. He might lose another one to Verstappen by the time we get back up the hill there. We've got a 6-second gap though back to Liam Lawson in P7, so I think we should be pretty safe from him, as here goes Verstappen trying to line up a move on his rival, of course, in 2024, but I don't think he's quite going to be able to. I mean, look at the understeer up through the top of the hill there. We've just got nothing left. These tyres are absolutely wrecked, but so far I've noticed a weird pattern inside this game. Whoever's won the IRL Grand Prix has not won the race so far in this series. Of course, Lando won IRL in Australia, Verstappen won in game, Oscar Piastri won in Shanghai, and of course Lando Norris won that one in game. And then obviously Max Verstappen won at Suzuka, and again Lando Norris won that one inside the game. But for the first time this season, we are going to see a parallel to real life. Oscar Piastri makes his way in towards the final few corners here in Sakhir, and he, after a couple of disastrous races, is finally going to remind everybody what he is capable of. Through the final corner, Oscar Piastri is going to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. We might have made our own luck today, but I guess it's going to be our second points finish in a row. We might have... I think this one comes with an asterisk, but points are points. I'm going to take it and hold my head up high.
Okay.
And an award-winning day for Oscar Piastri as he takes the checkered flag and wins.
Well, it all came good in the end for them, but it wasn't an easy start. Not the most straightforward of days, but I think it shows great strength in an athlete as a driver when you can overcome a day like this and walk away still with a victory.
Only 3 can take to the podium, and here they come. They give out trophies for the winners. Today, they're Oscars. Your winner today, Oscar Piastri.
Well, there we are then. Oscar Piastri from 4th on the grid. He will claim his first race victory of the season there. Charles Leclerc back on the podium ahead of George Russell. Lando Norris will be left to question what went wrong today, only finishing in P4. Verstappen, a good recovery drive by him. And again, like I said, the fact that every AI inside the top 10, apart from Ocon, has done a 3-stop strategy, and yet I've been able to make a 1-stop work, things definitely fell into place. Whether I forced that or not is a very different question. For real though, obviously, you guys saw it. I, certainly wasn't intentionally trying to crash or anything like that. The safety car, I was honestly quite surprised that we got a safety car in this race, because when I did something similar back in Shanghai, we only got a VSC that weekend. Liam Lawson, though, good points for him ahead of Hamilton. Gasly and Ocon, the 2 Frenchmen, will round out our top 10 there as well. Ocon, like I said, able to make the 2-stop work against the AI as well, so things fell into place for him. Antonelli, Kimi, Antonelli, very unlucky, down in P14 there. Alex Albon, a good recovery from the back of the grid to P11, and it was just Nico Hülkenberg that failed to see the checkered flag. Hauger even able to beat Hadjar and Lance Stroll when all is said and done. What does that do to our World Championship? Well, Charles Leclerc now up into P2, Oscar Piastri up into 3rd, ahead of Verstappen and Tsunoda there. Hamilton in P6 ahead of Russell. We are now up into P8 there as kind of best of the rest so far this season. 1 ahead of Ocon, 2 ahead of Alonso, 3 ahead of Albon, 4 ahead of Gasly. And I mean, look at that, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And then Carlos Sainz goes and ruins my little fun there as well. Hauger still last in the World Championship. We're going to need to see a big resurgence from him. McLaren, though, 42 clear of Red Bull and Ferrari now at the top of the table, tied up in 2nd place. They're ahead of Mercedes. We are just 3 points back from Williams, but again, I think we're not expecting to finish, high up in the points too often early on this season. Thank you all so much for watching, though. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon, ready for the Jeddah Grand Prix from Saudi Arabia. That one is going to be wild.